For the last couple of months, I've been quiet about something I was doing. I want to talk about it now that I am on the other side of it. I ran an experiment on myself, a deliberate one. I changed almost everything: my hydration, my sugar intake, my high calorie drinks, my sleep schedule, my workload, the amount of stress and pressure I put on myself. I tested different system, different operation, different methods, different situation, different philosophies, different ways of creating, different rhythm of working, and I did it on purpose because I wanted to feel, not theorize about, but actually feel what entrepreneurs go through when they are building something from the ground up. The whole thing, the chaos, the exhaustion, the doubt, the search of the right system that never quite arrives. And you wouldn't believe the kind of output that I got indirectly, directly, and how internal belief can alter the external reality in itself is just mesmerizing. Right from almost a loss of someone dear to me to getting something which I never expected. The fluctuation of each things was so crazy, the outcome was so crazy. I had zero idea that it is actually possible. I had read the books, the theories about multiple things: quantum manifestation, gratitude, you name it, and positivity. I have read all of it: how you think, consciousness, how you behave, subconsciousness, and I trial and tested as much as I could. But of course, there was a limit to an extent till where I could do it. Let me explain why someone would deliberately put themselves through that. It is easy in the world or the work I do to talk about building from a distance, to have frameworks about patterns and loops and stress and discipline, and to teach them cleanly from a place where I have my own system dialed in and my own life relatively stable. Even though I had broken many patterns to reach where am I, even though I had adapted many systems to reach where am I, learned many things, theories, workshops, Joe Dispenza, Tony Robbins, you name it, I have gone through their work. Napoleon Hill is just endless thing. But there is a gap between teaching something from stability and remembering what it feels like from inside the storm. And I did not want to lose contact with the storm. I went back there because my scenario, what I had before, was my personal scenario, and it would be one data point, one data set. But to understand someone else, I had to go through deliberate change of multiple things because the people I work with are in it right now, in the chaos of building when nothing is stable and every system is still being figured out, and the doubt is loud, and the best approach or the alternative runaway approach or the calmness approach is generally a lot of times related to intake or related to how they speak, related to how they feel, how they react, or how their intuition works, how they take meaning out of a sentence. And I trial and tested from different observation, different tunnel vision of it as well. I placed myself inside that situation as much as I could. I wouldn't say I did it in a whole and I have everything in my head, but I did as much as I could because the people are building something when nothing is stable and every system is being figured out, and the doubt in their head is also very loud. It's my duty when I am at the podium of helping people that I understand them before I acknowledge their feelings, their emotions first, before just guiding them through, okay, do this, do that. That is not the thing which I do. That is not the thing which I would suggest either. It's very important to understand someone's emotions and where they're coming from. So I deliberately destabilized myself. I broke my own routines, the routines which took me months to create. I introduced the exact stresses the founders deal with: erratic schedules, the sugar intake, the caffeine crunch, the overload, the constant method switching in search of the thing that works. I wanted to feel it again from the inside, not as a coach looking in, as a person in it. And I wanted to check if I use my methodologies on myself again, what result is it giving? Will I be able to come out of this new loop which I'm forming? And here is what the experiment revealed, and some of it surprised me. The first thing, the constant switching of methods is itself the problem. When you are building and struggling, the instinct is to keep changing the system when it doesn't work out. New schedule, new diet, new operating method, new content approach, and what I felt directly is that switching creates its own exhaustion as well. You never stay with anything long enough for it to work. The search for the perfect system becomes a way of avoiding the work itself, the discomfort of just doing the work consistently with an imperfect one. It leads to multiple strain of work. One, you would start something and close it as soon as it doesn't work. You would give very less time to it. Second, until unless you reach perfection, you wouldn't launch it. You can't launch a product on the basis of work. You would always run behind the perfection, and that would delay the work in turn. The second thing which I learned is the physical and the mental are not separate. When I change my hydration, my sugar, my sleep, my thinking changed, my emotion stability changed, my patience changed. I could feel my loop fire faster, my anger come faster, my and harder when my body was depleted, especially the craving of sugar that I needed just to run. The same trigger that I could stay calm through when rested would set me off when I was running on poor sleep and high sugar. The body is not the background to the inner work, it is part of it. That's why when we say many times that most of the emotional crunch is stored somewhere in your muscle, somewhere in your nervous system, it is important to let go of that emotion. There is a different methodologies and ways to do it, but until unless you come out of it, you release that negativity is stored in the body somewhere, it affects to you as and when, depending on situations to situations. One of the also different thing is how it affects your breathing altogether. The breathing in turn affects the calmness of yourself, and using the body in the cleanest form to using the body when it's overloaded with something is a completely different approach. When that happens, your mental stability in context of negativity absorption, overthinking, procrastination, all of that starts returning one by one. The third main thing, and that is the big one, the chaos is not actually about the external circumstances. I changed the external constantly, and what stayed the same underneath was me, my patterns, my response, my way of relating to pressure, my ways of understanding and taking things as this is the pressure, this is troubling me, this is affecting me. I could change every system in my life, and the same inner experience kept showing up, which confirmed the thing. I teach, but go to feel again directly. The building is hard, not mainly because of the circumstances, but because of what circumstances trigger inside you. And the worst of all, which I found in that, is the way you react from the internal component. If you are getting troubled inside, you will find trouble automatically coming in your life from exterior factor. And this was the breakthrough, this was the confirmation of what I wanted to check. The fourth main thing which I got, the insight I value most, did not come during the chaos part, but rather it came in the quiet moments. I protected inside the chaos. The early mornings, the still time, the moments I stepped out of the input and the motion and just sat with myself. Which is why I am back at a 5 a.m. cycle as of this week, because that protected quite in where the real clarity lives. I tried late night cycle before this, and before that, I tried sugar intake and high calorie drinks, and you name it. I did that, from full junk to coming back to full clean. The one of the I wouldn't recommend anyone to try this, but one of the essence which was there is, when I went on that journey, before that I was on a morning routine. Then I deliberately changed the whole of eating and sleep cycle first, and the calorie intake size. From there, I remember I was still maintaining the body in terms of BMI percentage and everything, and I was at single digit, close to double digit fat percentage. I went all the way to 18% from there during this whole phase, and I'm back at around 12ish now. After this cycle of morning routine completes, as in more 2-3 weeks, it should have good impact on that as well. And that in turn also has impact on the free body motion, how is everything related, how my workout is. And that is just one aspect. How clear my mind is in the morning is differently and altogether. How I am okay with different kind of food context is insane. When I came out of the high sugar intake to normal diet, my body was on a jittery phase. It was craving for that extra sugar, and coming back from there was in itself a big task. So yeah, I wouldn't recommend anyone to go on that trajectory, but the way you operate, the clarity you get, the emotional responses that generate because of all of that is just insane. Now, here is where I want to turn this around. I have spent 2 months feeling my way back into what's building from scratch actually feels like. In totality, if you have to ask me, the 2 months was the last two phase. In totality, if you ask, it was a 3.5 months journey. And I've shared a lot of those insights with you over this weeks and months. Small chapter, whatever the breakthrough moments, eureka moments. I put it as reels across. I put it as message in my WhatsApp community. I give in depth in during my one-on-one client calls, because the calls are longer. So explaining the fact is a lot more easier. But I try to cover it in my podcast as well as my YouTube video as well. But I do not want to keep guessing at what you are going through. I want to hear it directly. And this is one of the final thing which I have decided. So I am doing something. I am reaching out to almost every person I know. To the people in my WhatsApp community, to the people in my personal contacts, to Instagram, WhatsApp, people who reach out to me on emails for podcasts, all of them. Just one question I want to ask: what are you actually struggling with right now? What phase are you in? Where are you stuck? What have you already tried has not worked? And where do you actually want to be in the next 6 months? And for anyone willing, I am putting together a short form to capture it properly. Not for marketing, to genuinely understand the real specific struggle people in my world are facing at this moment in their journey. And I'm full on ready to help them as much as I possible. If it's under my power, I will do it as much as possible. If not, I'll try to guide them somewhere if it's not in my region. But because here's my belief, with everything I've learned through this experiment, through this work, through my life journey, through how I've broken the ropes, through how I've changed myself, to what all I have learned so far, the workshops, the information, through the patterns I have studied for years, I think I can actually help you get from where you are to where you want to be, but only if I understand where you actually are right now, not where I assume you are to be. That's why that one-on-one client talks are the best methodologies for me to understand them. I used to take webinars before, but at that stage I was just giving out products, and I understood there was a little more gap. Even though they had become part of my community, so they had access to me, so it was easier for me to curate for them a bit more. But I understood this one-on-one makes me understand that person in their life, in their moment of time, and that is a very crucial element. So if you're listening to this and something in you is struggling with something right now, I want to know. Reach out, reply, fill in the form when it comes. Tell me the real thing. I'm going to put this form link in the description. My form is ready as well. This whole experiment confirmed something I want to leave with. You can change every external thing in your life, your diet, your schedule, your system, your methods, and if you do not understand the patterns running underneath, the same inner experience will follow you through all of it. The same pressure it will maintain over you, the same overthinking it will make you do, the same emotions will make you feel, and the same sabotaging reactions it will make you do in different aspects of life, relationship, work, call it whatever. And that is not discouraging, it is the most useful thing you can know, because it means the leverage was never in finding the perfect system. The leverage is in understanding yourself. Once you do that, almost any reasonable system works. Without it, no system does for long. But question is how difficult it is to understand yourself. It is very difficult in today's time, especially with all this electronics, with all of this less time able to spend with ourselves. Everything is so fast paced, and we are not able to remove just 5 seconds, 5 minutes for ourselves to even stay still with ourselves. For those who can, it's a lovely process. You should definitely try it. Sit with yourself. 5 minutes a day is not a big time. And I am back on my 5 a.m. cycle, back in the protected quiet, and I'm genuinely asking, what are you facing? Tell me, and let me see if I can help you over there. Also, I'll tell you one thing. If you decide to start anything, if you decide to do anything, and you get the knowledge, you will be put in a testing phase. Not by me, by the universe, you can say itself. So when you decide to do anything, it is going to test you, it is going to trouble you by showcasing the external issues. But the knowledge you get, the insight you get, that helps you align with yourself. That helps you align your inner self. And when your inner self is aligned, no external thing can trouble you. Remember that. And if you want to start with the full picture of how I work, watch the free video. I'll put the link of that also in the bio. I will see you on Thursday.